Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my MLB World Series preview. So, I'm Mason Pesky, your host here with you. As you can see, I got my Arizona Diamondbacks jersey on. Tuesday night, the Diamondbacks clinched the trip to the World Series for the second time, I think, in franchise history. 2001 was the only ever time the Diamondbacks were in the World Series. They will take on the Texas Rangers starting tomorrow night. Game 1 is tomorrow at 8:08 p.m. The MLB does these weird start times. I don't know for what reason, but they just do. But yeah, that's your World Series. It's Southwest Classic. Diamondbacks and Rangers. These two know each other well. They play like those two-game mini-series. Like, you probably know how Cleveland plays Cincinnati. 2 games at home, 2 games at the other team. Detroit, Pittsburgh. 2 in Detroit, 2 in Pittsburgh. Cubs and White Sox, Athletics, Giants, Rays, Marlins. You guys get the point at this point. So the Texas Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks are one of them. And I don't remember the last time that two of those guys faced off in the World Series against each other. I was actually fortunate enough to see a Diamondbacks-Rangers game when we went to, I don't have a video of it, I'm sorry, but when we did our tour of Globe Life Park, the old Rangers ballpark in Arlington, when I went to that stadium before it closed, it was actually Rangers against Diamondbacks was the game we saw. Little did we know, that was back in 2018, but little did we know 5 years later that would be the Fall Classic for this year. But it is what it is. Let's focus. So we got a Rangers Diamondbacks World Series, and first we're going to start off how each team got here. Texas Rangers finished 90 and 72. Second place in the AL West Division, only behind Houston. They technically tied, but Houston owned the tiebreaker until the ALCS, which we'll get to in a minute. But Texas Rangers got the second seed in the AL West, 5th seed in the AL. They played the Tampa Bay Rays. They actually, in the wild card round, they absolutely destroyed the Tampa Bay Rays. They won that series 2-0. And then came a trip to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. The Rangers, they had a really good series there. They swept the number 1 seeded Orioles. I kind of knew the Orioles weren't going to go far in the playoffs just because of their young roster. They lacked postseason experience and all that. They still have a couple years to go before they get close to competing for a World Series title. But yeah, I mean, I expected Texas. I wasn't surprised that Texas won, so put it at that. But Texas won that series easily, 3-0. They advanced to the ALCS, and that's where they met their Lone Star State rival, the Houston Astros. Texas started out the series strong. They went 2-0. Then it went back to Arlington, and the Astros won 3 straight games, including a chaotic Game 5. They had the chance to clinch the World Series return at home. They just couldn't do it. Texas came in and won 2 games. They won the series 4-3. Just like the 2019 World Series, the road team won every single game. So that's kind of crazy and kind of interesting. Texas has not lost a postseason game yet this year on the road. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll see if Arizona can truly embrace the chaos, which is their slogan, and break that trend next week, Monday through Wednesday. We'll get into that in a minute. But now, for the NL champion Arizona Diamondbacks, these two teams are probably like my 2 favorite stories because it shows you 2 methods of truly competing. And I will get into this at the very end, but I'm going to put it off for now. I'll just start off by saying in 2021, the Diamondbacks were like 53 and 109 or 52 and 110. They were horrible. This team was pathetic, and they didn't have anywhere to go. Last year was a big year for them. They did okay. They were 74 and 88. Set themselves up for a competitive year, especially with Corbin Carroll. Sorry about that. Sorry to burp. Corbin Carroll coming up to the major leagues. So yeah, that was good for Arizona. Gave them a little bit of a spark. And the Diamondbacks went on tear this year, and they were actually leading the NL West like throughout June and stuff, up to like July and even the All-Star break. So, and then they went cold, the end of July to early August, they went very cold. It looked like the season was falling apart, just the same old Diamondbacks, until we went to the game on August the 12th, and they beat the Padres, and that's what sparked a little bit of a Diamondbacks hot streak. They went on a run. They grinded it out at the end, and they snuck their way in to the playoffs. They were 84-78 this year, good enough for the 6th wild card spot, barely beating out my Chicago Cubs for that spot, Cincinnati as well, and yeah. So that was definitely interesting to start. It was good to see Arizona get in the playoffs. Now we can truly embrace the chaos. And the chaos began with a little trip up to the Midwest by taking on the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where they swept the Milwaukee Brewers. And yeah, definitely interesting for sure. They continued their winning ways. When they went out to the West Coast, they swept the LA Dodgers, won 2 games in LA, and then they came home, finished the job off against the Dodgers at home. Then comes a tough NLCS series against a very good Philadelphia Phillies team, the postseason Warriors. Of course, they have that crazy crowd, Citizens Bank Park, Dancing on My Own. So definitely exciting to play the Phillies. That's for sure in the playoffs. We had Philly won the first 2 games at home, took the commanding 2-0 lead. Philly almost won game 3. Arizona, though, walked it off. They won the game 2-1. And then Philly had a 5-2 lead in game 4. They blew that as well. Lost the game 6-5. Arizona evened the series up. Then game 5, Philly responded back well. Won that game by a 6-1 score. Philly 3, Arizona 2. Then Arizona went into Citizens Bank Park, quieted the South Philly crowd, and eliminated the Phillies by winning 2 consecutive games on their home field to send the Phillies into the winter and clinch a return trip to the World Series and truly embrace the chaos that the team from the desert has brought. So that's definitely interesting, that's for sure. And the crazy thing is, once the Diamondbacks beat the Brewers, I kind of saw this happening because of a tweet I read, or an X, whatever you call it. Elon Musk's new platform, X, formerly known as Twitter. I love Elon Musk, by the way. He's one of my favorites, so nothing hard against him. Just wanted to say that. But anyway, though, I read something on X that said about the Brewers' recent playoff history. 2018, they lost to the Dodgers in the NLCS. Dodgers lost the World Series. 2019, lost to the Nationals in 2021, in the wild card game. Nationals won the series. 2020, lost to the Dodgers in the wild card round. Dodgers won the World Series. 2021, lost to the Braves in the NLDS. Braves won the World Series. 2022, barely missed the playoffs, and this wasn't part of the tweet, but I just thought of it now. Barely missed the playoffs because the Phillies snuck into that 6th wild card instead of them. The Phillies lost the World Series, and now in 2023, the Diamondbacks knocked the Brewers out of the playoffs, and the Diamondbacks are going to the World Series. How crazy is that? I mean, it's almost like if you play Milwaukee in the playoffs, that's your lucky charm at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's for sure. So yeah, definitely interesting times for Arizona. And if you play the Brewers, whoever plays the Brewers next year in the playoffs, should the Brewers make it, I know it's a consequential offseason in Milwaukee, but should the Brewers make the playoffs next year, whoever plays them, just pick them to win the World Series, the Brewers' opponent. So that would be a good bet to make. That's for sure, looking at the recent history. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my iPad, and we are going to move into this next segment. One of my favorite segments, because I really do like talking about the team building aspect of sports a lot. Not like team building like relationship and friendship wise, but more so like team building and rebuilding things from being competitive or not being competitive to being very competitive. So we're going to go through the 2020, we're going to go back in time to 2021, and we're going to look at the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, because these were 2 of the worst teams in baseball in 2021, and we're going to see how they got to where they are today. So these were both 100-loss teams 2 short years ago. The 2021 Texas Rangers were 60-102 in last place in their division. They traded Lance Lynn away. They traded a lot away, but they did get Nate Lowe. They signed David Dahl, Traded Scott Heineman to the Reds. Traded Art Warren to the Reds. Traded Elvis Andrus, Aramis Garcia to the A's for Chris Davis and Jonah Heim. And they signed Mike Fulton-Evans. It was not a good year for them. They were 60 and 102. But things kind of got better, but not really in 2022. The Rangers were a spender this offseason. They were like, we're sick and tired of this not competing anymore. And we want to go out and get some players, and we want to compete again, which was surprising because they were going from a 100-loss team to trying to be competitive, which is not common. They signed a lot of big players this year. They brought in, John Gray from Colorado. I think they signed Dallas Keuchel's on the roster. I think they signed him this year too. Mitch Garver, Corey Seager, and Marcus Semien both signed massive contracts. So yeah, things were getting better for them for sure. Until the record, and the record was not very good. So therefore, they fired their manager, Chris Woodward, and they brought in a competitor for sure, Bruce Bochy, to try to steer this team back to the playoffs and the promised land. And Bruce has definitely done that with his talent in managing and stuff. And a couple more big free agent signings have as well. Although he didn't play much this year, they did sign Jacob deGrom to a massive contract. So I wish he could play more. It sucks to see that he gets hurt all the time, so that's unfortunate. They did bring in Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney. They did trade for Jordan Montgomery and Max Scherzer at the deadline, Aroldis Chapman. This team is very serious about competing for sure. They actually did acquire Austin Hedges from the Pirates at the deadline as well, which was good. This team has a great roster. Was only boosted at the deadline, which was good. So yeah, things could not get better for the Texas Rangers. That's for sure. Now they are sitting pretty at 90 and 72 and ready for a playoff run, or ready for a World Series run. Now into the Diamondbacks. This is probably one of my favorite rebuilds that have occurred other than the Baltimore one. And I also really like the Cincinnati one too. I think they're on the cusp of contending and being a competitor here soon as well. It's kind of cool though to see, and I'll get into this later, but it's kind of cool though to see how all the sports have kind of modeled the NFL now, and you're seeing teams rebuild quick. So in 2021, the Diamondbacks were awful. They were 52 and 110, tied for the worst record in the MLB. Not good. Their roster was not very good. But they did have talent, and they knew they weren't that far away from competing because of the talent they had in this farm. So yeah. Their one big thing that year was Tyler Gilbert for a no-hitter for them. It's good for him. They didn't make too many free agent signings. They just made small ones. I think they signed Mark Melancon that year. It looks like, according to this roster. Oliver Perez, maybe. But, yeah, point being is... Oh, Corbin Carroll came up last year. David Peralta was there, but then they traded him to Tampa after they weren't competing. Point being is this team definitely did not expect to contend after finishing 52 and 110 in 2021. But they did make massive strides to improvement. 74 and 88 is a very good record. And now look at where they are today. They are the National League champion. They finished the season 84 and 78. Barely snuck into the playoffs over the Cubs, the Reds, and the Padres. And they're making some noise. They are making some noise. They now have three talented pitchers, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Brandon Fidaf. Two of those were with the team in 2021, Gallen and Kelly. I don't think Fidaf was, but they did have talent. They have Paul Sewald. They got him from Seattle at the deadline. Andrew Saalfrank came up, Ryan Thompson, Gabriel Moreno, Jordan Lawler's ready to make some noise. Evan Longoria was signed. That was a big signing. Ketel Marte, Gerald Perdomo, Christian Walker, and then you got Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Tommy Pham has made his impact ever since he was acquired at the deadline from the Mets. And then Pavin Smith and Alec Thomas. Definitely good to see those guys. They all stuck through it for the tough times. And now here they are in the World Series. Point being is, if you see these two teams, the 2021 Texas Rangers 60 and 102, 2021 Arizona Diamondbacks 52 and 110. Look at where they are now. quick turnarounds are possible in the MLB. Just like how the NFL quick turnarounds are possible, and the MLB it is now. This Diamondbacks team, and I can't stop thinking and making this comparison. This Diamondbacks team reminds me so much of the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals of the NFL. They're the MLB version of the Bengals, and here's why. 2019, the Bengals were 2-14 under first-year head coach Zach Taylor, and it was awful, and they didn't have a quarterback, and they didn't know what to do. 2020, the team drafted Joe Burrow out of LSU with the first overall draft pick. The team won 4-11 that year and was pathetic. 2021, they were 10-7. They made the playoffs. They were underrated in the playoffs, and they went on a run. They defeated Vegas at home, upset the Titans, upset the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and they went to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for the Bengals, they lost the Super Bowl to the LA Rams. So, yeah, this reminds me so much of that because just like the Diamondbacks, they were young. In 2021, they were young. They were inexperienced. They won 52 and 110. In 2022, they found their guy, Corbin. They found their baseball version of Joe Burrow in Corbin Carroll. They went 74 and 88. Better, but not where they need to be yet. This year, they barely snuck on in, and look at where they are now. So this shows you that the MLB and sports as a whole, and this is a really good thing for teams when they want to tear it down or rebuild and all that, because it works, that's for sure. You can rebuild now relatively quickly in any sport. The NFL started that trend. Before it was like it takes time. It takes 4 or 5, 6, even 6 years to rebuild. Now the timeline has been accelerated to 3 years. It could take you to rebuild. So that's really good. I think you're going to start to see quicker rebuilds now in all the sports, which is good for sports as a whole. Just the MLB has kind of followed what the NFL has become, and it has become a league with a lot of, and this is really good, and this is what I like about all of sports. It's become a league of parity. Like, the same teams aren't good every year, and that's what I like about it. And there's a lot of very even teams. Like, you don't have a lot of teams. Well, maybe Oakland and Kansas City and Chicago White Sox and the Rockies, but that's about it. You don't have many teams that are going like 2-15, 3-14, 4-13. 5 wins, it seems like, is impressive because it seems like a lot of the teams are balanced, and that makes sports so much better. The NFL started that trend, and the MLB is quickly following that trend, and I greatly like that a lot. So good to see that. Now on to the moments you guys have all been waiting for. We're going to go through game by game, and I'm going to predict this World Series here. As you could probably tell, and this didn't take effect in my predictions at all, but as you could tell by my jersey here, I am cheering for the Diamondbacks in this series. We have relatives out in Arizona. Of course, I went to see the Diamondback Stadium this summer. Definitely view those videos. There's a 25th anniversary celebration in there, and also a video of my vlog from the stadium. So please view those 2 videos if you have the time to. I would greatly appreciate that. And they're very good videos. So we went out there this summer, had a blast, and this is where I got the jersey from, if anybody asks. So yeah, here we go. Without further ado, let's do this. Arizona Diamondbacks, Texas Rangers, Game 1. I think Texas wins this one. I think they have the home field advantage. They're going to use that crowd to their advantage. That's for sure. I think Texas is going to use that crowd to their advantage. I think Game 1 is the Texas Rangers game to lose. I'm taking Texas in this one. Final score 5-3. Texas Rangers lead the series 1-9. Game 2 now. I think the Diamondbacks take this chance, an opportunity to swing the tide a bit. I think they win this one like 6-2, 6-3 maybe. They have a really good night. So yeah, that's very beneficial for them. That's for sure. And they win this game. It's 1-1 going back to Phoenix. Now we go back to Phoenix now, Monday night. Game 3 of the World Series. Part of the sports equinox. I talked about that on my episode of Mondays with Mason. Hopefully you guys all decide to tune into that one. That's for sure. It's a very good one. So please tune in when you get the chance. But anyway, I think the Texas Rangers keep their home winning ways alive, or keep their road streak alive of winning games. And I think they get the job done. I'm taking Texas in this one. Give me Texas 3-1 in this one. And they lead the series 2-1. Game 4 now, Halloween night in the desert. I should wear this as a Halloween costume because it's way too big on me. But anyway, though, it wouldn't work out because I'm taking the Rangers in Game 4. I think they continue this impressive road winning streak. So they're going to do good things on the road. Keep an eye out for them, and I'm taking the Rangers in this one. 6-5. High scoring game, that's for sure, but I'm taking the Rangers 6-5. They now lead the World Series 3-1. They're possibly getting ready for the celebration to kick off soon. However, in Game 5, I think the Diamondbacks put off that celebration and make the Rangers' last road postseason game one to forget. They snap the streak and prevent the Rangers from having a perfect road undefeated postseason, and I think that the Texas Rangers will lose this Game 5. Final score 8-4. Diamondbacks whip up on the Rangers. So now we have ourselves a 3-2 series. Rangers still lead it. It's going back to Globe Life Field. I think that's what its name is. Globe Life Field in Arlington. And this is where it ends. The Texas Rangers are going to win this World Series in 6. They have an impressive pitching performance. 4-2 is the final score for this game. 4-2 is the final score for the series. Unfortunately for the Diamondbacks, I think the Texas Rangers will win this World Series. It was an incredible run for the Arizona Diamondbacks, that's for sure, but I think they'll fall just short this series. So the future is very bright for Arizona. The best is yet to come for them, so keep an eye out for these Diamondbacks, especially Corbin Carroll in the future. He's going to be up there with Trout, Ohtani, Alonso soon and very soon if he's not already. And if I were the Diamondbacks, I would pay him this offseason whatever he wants. Make sure he's locked up and make sure he's in there for like 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, because you can truly build something around him, and this team could be a competitor for years to come. I know I compared this team a lot to the Bengals of the NFL. They could be a competitor for years to come, just like Joe Burrow has made the Bengals a competitor in the AFC and the NFL as a whole for years to come. Corbin Carroll can do the same thing for the Diamondbacks in the National League and the MLB for years to come. So yeah, I think the Texas Rangers are going to win this World Series, though, for this year. I just think they have the experience and the upper hand. I think the Diamondbacks are good, and the future is bright for them, and the best is definitely yet to come, but I don't think it happens this year, unfortunately, for the Diamondbacks. Although it is, as you can see, the Pats here on the side, their 25th anniversary. I do want the Diamondbacks to win for that reason as well, also the family part as well. Because I remember I was cheering for the Penguins. I was really invested in the Penguins of the NHL in their 50th anniversary season. And for them to win the Cup, they did just that. So hopefully the Diamondbacks in their 25th anniversary can do the same thing. So go Diamondbacks, but I think the Rangers will win the series in 6. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this World Series. So I hope you enjoy it. Have a good one. Take care, stay safe, pray for Israel, and as always, peace. Enjoy the series, and let's go D-backs.